I'm making a tote bag. It's a reasonably sized. It measures about 40 centimetres down and about 33 centimetres across. I didn't really measure what I was cutting out. I just eyeballed what I thought would make a good bag. I've cut 2 strips of fabric for the full width of the fabric that I purchased. They measure about 7 centimetres. That's roughly 3 inches if you look in old numbers, and it's the full width. I'm going to be using the factory setting, so all my tensions are on 4, my stitch width, differential feed is on 1, my stitch width, or stitch length rather, is on 3, and my knife is set to 5, the default setting. So what I want you to do is make 2 long straps, and the way to do this is by overlocking a nice long thread. So we chain off a nice long thread there. I'm happy with that. And what we're going to do is we put good sides together. And again, you can pin this if you want to, or peg it. Bring the chain round. Now you've got 4 threads there, so it's quite strong. I'm going to tuck it in into my fold, and I am going to just place the edge of the fabric against the side of the foot and against the side of the wall here. And I'm going to allow the machine to pull the strap in, and then just carry on. And I can feel that chain is in the fold. Start pulling on it when it gets too short. Now ideally you're not cutting anything away. But a marginal amount like that is neither here nor there. Okay. Don't let it get too gathered up in one space. It'd be tricky to unravel. Almost to the end. Keep going. And then we'll just cut that away. Let's get rid of that. So like I said earlier, use a bin or have something handy to catch all your rubbish. So again, let's help that through by tucking the end in there. I'm holding on to that, wound it around my finger so I don't lose that end. Tuck the first part in and then just start pulling and feeding it through on itself. Just pull that through. You can let go of the chain and then carry on. Whoops. Whoops. Feed that through. Cut away the chain, get rid of that. And let's go and press our straps. Make them look like straps. Just take your time and give that a good press. Okay, so now the straps are done. We're going to create 2 bags. So I've got the lining, I've got the front bag, and I'm only going to overlock on the 3 edges. We're going to ignore the top. But what I am going to do is I'm going to leave a turning hole. That's about 4 inches, what's that? About 10 centimetres. So a 10 centimetre turning hole, and I like to put it on the side because it weakens the bottom. If you put a turning hole at the bottom, it weakens the bottom. All right, so placing the fabric in there, let's whiz up to the blue line. Now I can see the blue line in there, so lift up the presser foot, lift up the needles, serge out, bring it back in, so bring the needles back up and then place them back in there. Now what you do to turn a corner is lift the needles out, lift the presser foot, pull, do an extra stitch if you have to, pull the fabric out. Oh, I think I need to do another extra turn, and then push it back in just before the needles. Press the foot down and let's go. So there's our bag with the tin and coal. Okay, so we've got the 2 straps and the lining bag. Let's make the main bag. So the 3 sides, no tin and coal, just go straight through. Just go slightly over, press, the needles are out, and then just bring them back, the bag back in front of the needles. So now what we want to do is we're going to turn good sides. We're going to place good sides together. So we're going to turn the main body round. So that's nicely done. We're going to place that into the lining bag. But first, we're going to decide where our straps go. So if I want my strap to be there, what we need to do is actually flip it that way, okay? So that the seams are facing up, okay? And I'm going to poke them out just a fraction there and there. And let's be good, let's measure this and make sure we do it evenly. So if I have here, let's see, 32, so the half of 32 is 16, that's dead centre. Half of 16 is 8. So the centre of my seam should be at 8. Okay. And then half of that, so what's 16 at 8? 24, the seam should be at 24. So if I've done that correctly, this method will work and the straps will match. Okay. What you do, fold your bag in half, right? So fold that in half, so we can see I've already done that right. So fold your bag in half, and then fold it in half again. And then what you'll find is those points there, if I give it a good press with my finger and thumb, and then I unfold that, can you see the creases? You might not be able to see them on the camera, but I certainly can see them quite strong there. So what I'll do is, hopefully this shows through for you. You can see those markings. So my maths were right. I've got them dead centre, and that's an easy way for you to find the centre without having to do the sums. So again, have your seam facing upward, grab a pin, and then put your hand into the bag and then place a pin further down. Again, why further down? Because we do not want our pin coming in conflict with our knife on the overlocker. All right, make sure the bag strap is not twisted. Lay the seam on the mark, on that crease that we made. If you want to use a second pin, you can. Pegs are no good for this. So now we're happy with that. We've made sure our bag handles are not twisted. They're nice and long, actually. You might not want them as long as this, so shorten them if you want to. So I'm tucking them into my lining, if I can get my hand in there. And I'm just going to place it all in there. Okay. Open up the bag into the lining like that. Okay. Just give it a good shake there. Now hopefully if you've pinned it well, that shouldn't come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just place more pins on the strap there, just to make sure it doesn't get twisted while I'm going around. And if you want more pins in there, you could maybe put them on the seams. Make sure your seams match. So pins nice and far away from the edge. making sure everything is lined up. Just double check that pin there, not too close to the edge. And there we go. Okay, so everything's in there, all hidden in there, so I should be able to see the wrong side of the lining, and I can see the wrong side of the bag in there. And we're literally just going to go a big loop all the way round the top of this bag. So let's get rid of that pin. This is where this wonderful free arm comes in handy. So this is a free arm, that's the extension plate, and we can place, let's lift the press foot up and lift the needles out. And we're going to just place our bag over the free arm, make sure it's all there, and tuck. Doesn't matter, because we're doing a full loop around, I'm going to just tuck it in anywhere. It doesn't matter where I start. Pop the press foot down and let's go. Just pull it through the free arm. Needles up, press the foot up, so pull that away and chain off. And there we go. Lovely. Right, let's take these pins out. And there we go. So into the turning hole, grab the bag that we've just sewn to the lining. Put it all through. Now please be careful when you do this, because remember you've got those 4 pins holding the straps, so please, no injuries. Get those pins out before we do anything else. And there we go. Again, we have a turning hole there. So what we need to do is go and press that down and finish it off with either a seam on the machine, on the overlocker. You can finish it off with a sewing machine, and you can finish it off with a hand stitch. And I've got to say I prefer a hand stitch. A ladder stitch along there. So if you press that down, you'll end up with a nice even seam. Hang the bag over the edge of your ironing board and then press that up. And if all your tensions are right on your machine, it will be perfect.